Welcome to the 2D Web Solution Show, the podcast that provides freelancers who are wanting to make more with WordPress, the solutions to create a plan, take action, and experience success. And now, here are Arelthia, Phillips, and Carron with their next 2D Web Solutions episode.
Well, hello again, guys, and thank you for being here for episode 21. Today's topic in our WordPress niche series is WordPress plugins.
So guys, we're going to be looking into the different WP niches and exploring the endless possibilities of how you can make more with WordPress. And we've been doing this for the past couple of episodes. But before we get into the WordPress plugins niche, let's quickly review what we consider to be the primary niches within WordPress.
And those niches are the websites, which we covered building websites and hosting websites. Today we're moving on to plugins, and we'll continue our series next time with themes, marketing, and education and training. So let's get right into it, Arelthia. What is the WordPress plugin niche?
Well, I think before I jump on what is the WordPress plugin niche, I want to make it clear what a plugin is. So we know we're dealing with WordPress, but when it comes to WordPress, one of the things that they say is great about WordPress is that it's extendable. You can make it do so many different things, and it's the plugin that makes that possible. And so, a plugin is it's like a piece of software containing a bunch of different pieces that can be added to WordPress website. All right. And so it just adds new features, not a look necessarily, but new features.
Right. And I know the WordPress repository has thousands and thousands of plugins that are out there. So let's talk a little bit about the different ways that you can use plugins to increase something within your business and make more with WordPress.
Okay, so I want to look at three different areas for this, Kerry. I want to look at it from a perspective of creating plugins as a service for your clients.
Okay.
Creating plugins for the WordPress repository.
Wow.
And creating a plugin for a product to sell.
Right. I think most people probably think that, when they think of making more with WordPress, I think the initial idea that comes to someone's mind is probably that last one, the products for sale. So what does the plugin niche look like as a service for your clients?
Well, this for me, I think it's the easiest way to start. Not everyone will agree with me on this, but I think it's easier to start when you have a client that has a problem that they need for you to solve, and you create a plugin specifically for that client that solves their problem. And so that gets you into the WordPress plugin niche. And then people start coming to you for, okay, I need a plugin that does this, or I need a functionality on my site that does this. And some people may say, well, do I have to create a plugin for that? You don't have to create a plugin. You can throw it into functions.php. But when that client wants to move to a different theme, okay,
right,
that's gone. And so I try to make life easier for my clients, not necessarily harder. And that's one of the reasons I like to think that they keep coming back to me, because I know what they need. They tell me what they want, and I give them what they need. Okay.
You know what? You've hit the nail right on the head there. It's all about creating the solution for the problem. And in this case, you have that client who has a very specific problem, and now you're creating that plugin specifically for them to meet that need. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. All right, so let's move on to how you can make more with WordPress by using the WordPress plugin repository. How does something like that work?
Okay. Well, it's interesting, Kerry, because when it comes to the plugin, WordPress plugin repository, it's not the easiest place to get into because they have a long review process. Okay. But it is possible to create a plugin that you can offer people in the WordPress repository.
Now, those are all free, correct?
Yes, they are free, the ones that are there. And so one of the things about that, Kerry, is so you create this plugin, you put it in the WordPress repository. Why in the world would you do that? It's free. You go through all this work to put it out there. It's interesting because there's a group of people that look at it as in you're giving back to the community.
Okay.
Okay. There's a large audience there on WordPress.org. It's a large audience. Okay.
So I imagine then by doing that and by having a plugin that you created that does end up going through the entire process of being put into the WordPress repository, I can imagine that your exposure is greatly increased.
Yes. Yes. When you get to the point where, it's funny because I remember when I put my first plugin on the WordPress repository, well, my plugin out there, and 100 people had downloaded it. I was like, wow, people are actually using it. Okay. And then next thing I know, it was 1,000 people using it.
Oh my.
And now I think it's up to like maybe 3-4 possible downloads or something like that. So it gives you a lot of exposure. Not just for your plugins, but also you can use that, people can reach out for you for other services as well.
Right. So when you have your plugin on the WordPress repository, what kind of people does it attract to you?
It's interesting because it's kind of like, if you think about it, there are two types of people. Those that are there just because they're looking they want something that's free to use, okay? And they expect everything related to that plugin to be free, including support. And they expect you to deal with their problem right now, right here, right now. And those are the people that I find they will find you regardless of where you are. If they have a problem with the plugin, they expect you to fix it. They will find you on Facebook. They will find you anywhere. They'll find you on Twitter. Wherever they are, they will try to find you so that you can solve their problem. Now,
right. When you run into people like that, I know it obviously could be quite frustrating because they do expect so much for free. But I could also imagine that it gives you an opportunity to see where your support or your plugin may be weaker in order to make it stronger.
Yes. And that's a great thing also about being in the WP repository, the WordPress repository, because you have so many people using it, and they use it sometimes in ways that you never considered.
Right.
And so that gives you an eye into what type of features need to be added. The same questions they keep asking over and over again. Okay, maybe you could do documentation for that, or that's a new feature you can add, something that makes that easier for people. And it really, sometimes that interaction with those individuals make your product a lot better.
Right.
Now, there's another type of person when it comes to the WordPress repository. These are the people that dig deeper. They'll find you, but for different reasons. They'll find you, they'll read your information, they'll sign up for your list. These are the people that like what you offer and they want more of it. Okay. Wow. And those are the ones that you want. So they come back for additional services. Those are the people that will click on your little ad that you have in the WordPress admin area and maybe purchase an add-on. These are the people that will click on your little ad and they just keep digging in your site. And those are the ones that really, yes, the first group, they help you make your plugin better in some ways. They help you develop a list of themes and plugins that your plugin just does not play well with. Right. But this last group can be beneficial from a financial standpoint.
Nice. So it sounds like the WordPress repository can really be a pretty great opportunity. What happens after you have those in there and those two groups start coming to you for more information and all of that? What happens to your business?
As they continue to come to you, your business tends to grow, and it can change because like what you focus on will start to change. It can take you to the next level. And I don't want to say that when you put a plugin in the WordPress repository that you don't have a future plan for it, because I hope you do have a future plan if you put a plugin in the WordPress repository. But the WordPress repository can be a way for you to grow and to learn what you need to include in other premium plugins or other add-ons that you create for that plugin.
Oh, that's a great point. That's a great point. All right, well, let's move on now to creating a plugin as a premium product. To me, I I have not done this yet, and it's kind of terrifying to me, to be honest, because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to create so much work for me. So what kind of work am I really creating for myself by creating a premium plugin?
You know, this right here, if you don't love supporting people, if you don't love helping people, then this is definitely not the route to go, because support is a big deal. People expect support and in a timely manner, and I like to say in a professional manner, because everything I do, I want it to be professional. And so sometimes it can be frustrating when people are coming to you about something that's not working.
Right.
And you have to be patient. So, you really have to be patient with these people, especially when it's not really your plugin that's the problem. It's maybe their theme that's the problem. Or maybe they didn't read the instructions, or not even instructions, but what was right there on the screen. Or maybe they just don't understand what your plugin is for. They want it to do more than it's intended to do. So you have to be willing to support people. You have to have patience. And then you have to be able to add functionality to your plugin. If you want people to continue using it, you have to add functionality. Because if you don't provide functionality that adds value for your customers, then they're going to stop using your plugin. They're going to go on to something else. Functionality is so important. And the thing about WordPress is that sometimes in the repository, you'll see a plugin that dies off, okay? And then you might see, you go to Code Canyon, you'll see a plugin that is like, oh my goodness, it's doing okay. And you like it, but they're not updating it. It's just that it has not changed over time. It is staying the same. Or you see a plugin out there it has this, but it's missing so much, like you see potential for. And WordPress is an area where, and I'm really going somewhere with this, Kerry, okay?
I believe you. I believe you. In fact, I'm reading into it and I'm thinking, it's a lot like when you're a designer or developer and you build a website, and so many business owners, they want a website and they expect it to be build it and they will come kind of thing. And it's the same, it seems to be a trending topic within any of the WordPress niches. So it sounds like that's kind of along the lines where you're going.
Yes. You have to continue to offer value to your customers. And honestly, in WordPress, if your plugin if it's any good and you stop offering value, you stop improving the functionality, someone else will pick that plugin up. They will fork it and they will make it better. And that's WordPress, that's the open source nature of the plugin.
Yes.
They can do that morally, right. And make it better. That's how we can have some of these great plugins we have out here now. For example, Woo Themes, that was a fork of another e-commerce plugin. And now it's like, wow, it's so much better. Yeah, there are going to be some people that complain about it when it first happens, but that's open source. That's how it works. And so it's going to also, Kerry, I want to stress this point, is that not only do you have to be willing to support your plugin, add new functionality, be patient with people, but you have to really focus on testing your plugins. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, for example, my link timestamp plugin, I think that's the easiest plugin for me to test because we use it for 2D web solutions. So that one gets tested a lot. Add widget after content and the add widget after content styles plugin, I test it a lot. I use it on some client sites and I keep them all on my dev sites. So testing is important as well.
Yeah, we have that one on 2D as well. That's one I use that plugin quite a bit. I like, there's a number of things I like within that.
Yeah.
But I want to touch back, you mentioned support and everything, and I mentioned that I was terrified about how much work it would do. It's interesting because a lot of the work that I do in my business is support for other people. And not just my own clients and websites I build, but I work with a lot of other developers and I help them provide support to their clients. And that is such a huge thing. And clients are so, clients are so happy to get a personal response that really addresses exactly what they're looking for, even if it's repeating the same thing over and over and over and over again. And there's a few companies, major companies that I've worked with and used their products over the last few years where I've noticed that their customer service is really slipping. And it's like, I know that it's so blatantly obvious to me exactly what they need to do. And so that helps me build that into the things that I need to support, be it a plugin or a theme or a website. So support is huge for sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. All right.
So after all of that is said and done, let me ask you this. All right, you've eased some of my terrifiedness, for lack of a better word. And now I'm thinking, okay, maybe I really do want to get into doing this. And I do want to build some premium plugins or put one in the WordPress repository. What do I need to know, or what do I need to do next to get started in the WordPress plugin niche?
Okay. I think first, Kerry, I don't know if we did an episode where we talked about developing solutions, okay? And in that episode, we talked about the A's, our 2D A strategy, and we talked about our 2D D strategy.
Yes.
In the D strategy, we looked at, is it something that you can delegate, develop, or dismiss, okay? And that's where I think would be a next step for getting started in the WordPress plugin niche, because you want to consider, okay, can I outsource the creation of my plugin? Not the planning for your plugin,
okay,
but the development of your plugin. You know, you can outsource it with a WordPress developer, someone like myself, or at somewhere like Upwork.
Okay.
So that's one option for you. Another option is if you want to do it yourself, or if you're that type of person, you like digging into the code, or you just really strapped for cash starting out, you can just learn more about WordPress plugin development by creating something. Learn more PHP, JavaScript. Yes, PHP is still important, even though you see all these hype post online about, it's all about JavaScript. Yeah, but guess what? That back end is PHP. Okay, so you want to learn PHP and JavaScript. Good places for doing that, lynda.com. I think that would be the top place. SitePoint, Toots Plus, places like that. But I think it's all about getting in there and trying, getting in there and doing something. Maybe start by turning up a plugin, look at a plugin, change some stuff around, then start creating a plugin. Really, after you've decided whether or not you want to do it or you want someone else to do it, hey, it's time to get started. Create a plan, figure out what problem you're going to solve, decide what plugin. Maybe there's a plugin out there that it almost does what you want to do, but oh my goodness, I wish it did this. Okay, go for it.
Yep. So that brings us to, speaking of plans, it brings us to our action plan. And today's action plan is to make more with WordPress by getting yourself active in the WordPress plugin niche.
All right. So just a quick wrap up, guys. We love it when you all go out to our website, 2dwebsolutions.com, and leave us your comments. Today, we have a couple of questions for you that we'd like for you to think about when you're leaving your comment. What is the most appealing aspect about the WordPress plugins, doing WordPress plugins as a WordPress niche?
And if you're already working in the WordPress plugin niche, what additional advice would you offer to those that might be interested?
And another one is, sometimes the teacher in me just loves it when you ask questions. So what questions do you have about offering WP plugins as a service? Again, guys, we know your comments help us or someone else in the process, and we just want to thank you so much for being here.
So now go out and create your plan, take action, and experience your success.
Kerry and Arelthia invite you to start your plan by taking this action. Submit your questions by visiting their website and subscribe to their 2D podcast at 2dwebsolutions.com.